Hola amigos, and welcome to Who Cares? Show me the build. Okay, fine. Today we're going to be talking about Handmaiden. She's freaking underrated as shit. I love Handmaiden. She's very good. So, here we go. She naturally gets 15% extra dodge distance, which you might be thinking, hey, who gives a fuck? Well, maybe you like to dodge. Maybe you want to dodge a little further. Maybe you want to be the Handmaiden. Let's keep going. She's got a swift dash with an extremely short cooldown. I think it's like 20 seconds or something. So she dashes. It goes through enemies, and then it's a good way for her to like kind of escape. She sometimes will just like run off and leave people, but she does not die because of this. Very helpful. Renewal. She has an aura, increases her stamina regeneration speed 100%. For those of you that aren't good at math, that's double. That's twice as fast as your average character with regenerating stamina. And Ariel's Benison. Revive can't be interrupted by damaging attacks. So, somebody goes down. This is a very good character to pick them back up with, because even if she gets hit, she'll still pick them up. Now, let's talk about the temp health here. Never use this. Really, both this and this are very good. If you only care about temp health, like during big hordes and stuff, I would go with Spirit of Echo right here, because pretty much any enemy you damage, you'll get temp health. So like if you swing and hit one enemy, you'll get one temp health, and it goes up to 5. So if you hit a big chunk of a horde, you'll get 5 temp health. Then another swing, 5, yada yada. Whereas with Partial Blessing here, and I go back and forth, I use both of these. But with this one, anything you kill, you get temp health based off the health of that enemy. So I like to think this one's better for like higher difficulties, because the enemies have more health. As difficulty goes up, they have more health. So if you kill them, you'll get more temp health. Plus, it's not just from hordes. It is like just anytime you see an enemy, you can kill a couple things. Maybe you kill a Chaos Warrior, you get like 30, 40 health, whatever. And you have that for a little bit. Just depends what you want out of these two, but either one would work very well. Next here we have Focus Spirit. So after not taking damage for 15 seconds, Corellian's power is increased by 10%, and it resets when you get hit. So you'll start the map with 10% increased power. Get hit, you gotta wait 15 seconds, but then you have that 10% extra power. It's just something, it's nice. It's a little extra damage. Your other options here are 5% increased crit chance, and increased cooldown rate for your dash. Now this I don't think is very important, because the cooldown for a dash is already so short, you don't really need to like reduce it more. And 5% crit chance, it sounds nice, but really at the end of the day, what are you going to do more damage from? A couple extra crits or 10% increased power? I think it's this one right here. That's what I would go with. And then down here, I've talked about Smiter before. Smiter's amazing. Every first hit you do on any enemy, including Chaos Warriors, including bosses, monsters, whatever, they get staggered. And you do 20% increased damage to staggered enemies, and that can stack up to 40%, of course. But that's, in case you didn't freaking realize it, that's 20% increased damage to every enemy, because you're going to stagger every enemy. So it's super useful. You do more damage than you would with 7% increased power. And I think it's better than Mainstay for this kind of a build, because the weapons I'm going to be using are pretty much just like for death. I mean, she's got like a shield and a spear combo that she can use, and maybe Mainstay is the one for that, but I'm very preferential to Smiter myself. I like it. Then I go with Willow Stance. Dodging grants 5% attack speed for 6 turns, stacks up to 3 times. So if you do 3 quick dodges, you'll have 15% increased attack speed, which is freaking really nice. And if you're a very talented player, you won't even have to have any attack speed on any of your weapons. Now, I like to have attack speed because I'm not that great. I'm okay, but no, I need this, and I need the attack speed. Your other options here: Shadow Step further increases dodge distance by 20%, and Wraith Walk, Corellian's dodges can now pass through enemies. I see these kind of talents where like dodges can pass through enemies, and I never use them because I just always think like what is that gonna do? Like, that's so dumb. I don't need this. This is useless. Shadow Step. This is something you just don't really need this. She already has increased dodge distance. Why not freaking use that and get attack speed? It lasts for 6 seconds. I mean, that's a long time. And then all you have to do, when you have it max stacked, you just do one more dodge and boom, 6 more seconds of 15% attack speed. It's freaking nice as shit. And then down here, just some passives, freaking 15% increased health, 30% block cost reduction. I kind of go back and forth on these two depending on what I do. I guess I'd recommend block cost reduction, but you can use health if that's what you want to do. No big deal. Both of these are really good. Quiver Plenty, ammo amount by 40%. No. Maybe if these talents were like different and not as good, you could go with this, but you have health and block cost reduction here. Like, extra good things here. One of these. Like, come on. One of these. Definitely. And then down here, Gift of Ladriel. I hope I pronounced that right. Corellian disappears from enemy perception for 2 seconds after using dash. So I kind of feel like Handmaiden is a very balanced character. Like, she's naturally, I think it's 150 health. So with this, it's 173 health. Without it, it's 150, which is still pretty good. So she's got, and you can, if you really want to, you could put a bunch of block cost reduction on your gear and use this talent. You could have 90% block cost reduction with this character, which I think is more than anybody else. Maybe, there might be somebody else that can do that as well, but that's almost, that's pretty good. So she's got some, some offensive capabilities. She's got some pretty decent defensive capabilities. I wouldn't use Blade Dancer. Dashing through an enemy causes them to bleed for significant damage over time. I used to use this one when I first started using Handmaiden, and maybe it's been fixed or whatever, but I would do this and it would not do like any damage to any enemies, and I kind of grew to hate it, and I don't like this talent at all. And then you have Power from Pain. Each enemy hit with dash grants 5% critical strike chance for 10 seconds, stacks up to 5 times. So you can have 25% crit chance for 10 seconds. I feel like this one's not that bad. I never really use it myself, but 25% crit chance for 10 seconds sounds pretty nice. And I guess if you have this and some other things going, you can have some pretty high crit chance. Like I said, though, I don't think you need it. I mean, if you want to mess around with it, that's definitely fine. I prefer this one because say somebody triggers a patrol, or you're in a giant horde and there's like 10 Chaos Warriors going to slam down on you. You can just dash right through them and you'll be invisible for a little bit, so you'll have a chance to like drink a potion if you're gray. You can freaking pick somebody up, you can even try to attack those Chaos Warriors from the back or something. You have options with this. With this, you'll have that crit chance, because it's a low cooldown, so you'll get it a lot. But I mean, this, I think, especially on a higher difficulty mission, this is the one, I think, that is the most useful. And now for the gear. Like I said, she's a pretty balanced character, and she's got a lot of defensive capabilities, so I like to give her a little bit of offense, which is why I go with the Glaive. And I use 10% power to chaos and attack speed, and of course I go for swift slaying with this. You know, the glaive is pretty slow on its own, which is why I do that. I use that dodge talent to get extra attack speed, and I also throw attack speed on here. You know, the glaive, as you can see, when you do the double charge, you do like a monstrous amount of damage when it comes down like that. There you go. Yeah. And, you know, chaos enemies, they have more health than Skaven enemies, so I always just throw Power Rush Chaos on things like this. My bow, I do crit chance, Power Rush Skaven with Barrage. Barrage is good for like monsters. You can just shoot a bunch of arrows at a monster, and you know, each one does a little more damage than the next. It's just a little way to be a little more offensive. And I know what I just said about Chaos, but the reason I have Power Rush Skaven on the bow is because a lot of the specials that give me trouble are Skaven ones. And that's Assassins, Hook Rats, Gun Rats, and Fire Rats. And I want to be able to kill those guys in one shot, even on Legend. So that's why I get extra power for Skaven. And the crit chance, you know, is a little bit of luck sometimes. Helps you out. I think it's a good combination for the bow. And then the necklace, 20% health. I've said this before, but I think every character in Vermintide 2, every person that plays a character should have health on their necklace. It's kind of a no-brainer, especially with the way Grims work and they take your health down. It's just better to have more health, you know. I think it beats out like damage reduction and all this other kind of crap. And then I go for block cost reduction, you know. The glaive, you know, you're not really going to be pushing things with the glaive very much. It's got pretty decent cleave and it does pretty decent damage. It's got like the regular hit is just a long stride, something like that. Pretty decent damage. Why don't I just do that? Pretty decent damage, so it's got, you know, some capabilities. So, and I already use 30% block cost reduction on here, so another 30, I mean, that's 60% block cost reduction. That's as much as my Iron Breaker has, you know? And then Bark Skin, of course, just makes her a little bit more tanky. If she takes 2 hits in a row, she's not going to lose all her health and die. She's going to have a little bit left over. She's going to live. It's helpful. And then the Charm, just more power versus chaos. You know, it works for the bow. It works for the glaive. Power versus chaos is nice. I get that extra attack speed in there, because the glaive is super freaking slow, and I don't always feel like dodging. You know, she's got a very short cooldown on her ability, so I use Concoction. Concoction's good if you're in a pinch, you know, and you've got a potion on you. Doesn't matter what kind it is, you can just drink that sucker, and you'll get like a couple seconds. Your ability will go down, you can use it. With her, you could probably use it 2 or 3 times. I mean, because it's only 20 seconds. I think Concoction takes, I think it's about a minute, maybe a little less than a minute ability cooldown. It'll like wipe out a minute on that. So I like Concoction. It's pretty good for her. And then the Trinket, of course, 33% curse resistance. Necessary on every level except Cataclysm, because nobody goes for Grims or Tomes really on Cataclysm. And then a little bit of crit chance, you know, it helps with the Swift Slaying on my glaive and extra damage, of course. And then Shrapnel. I've talked about this before, but Shrapnel's the best grenade talent, I think. It's just good for patrols. Like, if you've got one of those impact grenades on you and you throw it well enough that it hits most of the patrol, someone else who has one can just throw it again, like right after you, and it'll just blow that patrol to smithereens. And that's that.